What's your name?
My name is Carolyn Fossatelli, and I've been in Rome for about 6 years, but prior to this I lived in Michigan and in South Georgia.
Okay, how long have you studied Paleo-Indians?
I'd say a little bit more than 20 years.
Okay, where did you go to college?
Well, I started out at South Georgia College, which is a junior college in Douglas, Georgia, and then I finished my degrees at Valdosta State University.
Okay, did you minor or major, and why did you choose to study this?
Well, I actually minored in Native American contemporary and historical social problems, and the reason why I decided to do it is probably the reason most people do. I had a vested interest. I found out that my grandfather was 100% Native American, and that kind of piqued my interest, but when I got into college, I took one class and I was hooked.
Okay. So can you tell me like some just general info about the earliest Paleo-Indians?
Absolutely. The biggest thing was, of course, they were nomadic and they were hunters. So you find that a lot of times, and all the things that you see on TV lead you to believe that when it shows the cavemen. They never really had one particular place that they stayed for a long period of time. They would move from area to area because the biggest thing was finding food, and that's what they had to do to find food.
Okay, what food did they eat?
Well, believe it or not, they went after the really big animals. Imagine an elephant, but 2 to 3 times that size. What really makes it cool is back then, all they used were spears. I mean, they certainly didn't have any of the guns or anything that we have nowadays, but they used these spears that were made of flint. And it took a lot of, they kind of had a team hunt, so it took a lot of them to take down one mastodon or giant bison.
Okay, did they ever have to like switch to something else, like any other plants if they were there, or any other animals, like if the species died? Did any species ever die?
Well, they certainly did. They several of the species wound up going extinct. And if you think about it, it's kind of like if your favorite restaurant closes down in Rome. You know, you get into the habit of going to this one particular restaurant to drive through all the time. One day you show up, it's not there anymore. So you kind of have to adapt and pick another restaurant. That's what these Indians had to, the Native Americans had to do. They would, they hunted the mastodon and the bison, and they became extinct. So then, when those became extinct, they really had to move down to smaller animals like deer. But sometimes they got really lucky and they were able to hunt bear.
Okay, so was there any like kind of stuff that they did in their downtime, kind of like how the Cherokee Indians had like powwows and dances and anything like that?
They focused a lot on ceremonies, and because of that, they were very into decoration, and that is kind of how their art form, which were petroglyphs and glyphs, came to be. They spent a lot of time doing that to decorate their ceremonial sites.
Okay, so like, how many sites have they found across the U.S. or in Georgia?
Well, they found quite a few. Really, Virginia has a lot. They have 17. But they have found some recently in Georgia that have been notable.
Okay, why would they put it in this, like in that certain location?
Well, one of the things that they found is once they were still nomadic, but not as much so when they had to switch to the smaller animals. So the reason you would find those in those locations is they stayed in that area. Food was more plentiful there, so they stayed there for a longer period of time. Because of that, they performed ceremonies there, and because they wanted to decorate their ceremonial sites, you find the rock art.
Okay, were there any Indians in Georgia before any Paleo-Indians?
Well, what the evidence has disclosed is that they believe right now, of course you know how that is, everything can change, that the Paleo-Indians were the earliest Indians in the state of Georgia.
Okay, where could you find any other Paleo-Indians besides Georgia?
Well, all across North America. And we do suspect that there are some found in other areas because, as you guys have probably studied, the land actually changed. There used to be the bridge across the top, so we think that they may have at one point migrated to different areas. So even though they find a lot in the South, they are all over North America.
Okay, So what other info could you just tell me about the Paleo Indians? Just any other info that you know?
Well, I would say the biggest thing that they're known for is their rock art. Lots of people are very interested in it, and it's very valuable. There's a big difference, though, in the two types of rock art that they do. You see the glyphs and then the petroglyphs. The petroglyphs are where they actually remove part of the stone, but the glyphs, sometimes you see these on the movies, are actually the drawings in the caves that you see that may show all the animals and things like that.
Okay, and did you get any types of like master's degree or doctorate or any of that on these like Paleo Indians?
No, I only have a minor in this, but I have continued to research and actually spent a lot of time with this and my other degree, which is criminal justice, looking at deviances for Native Americans.
Okay, well, thank you for the interview.
Oh, thank you.